What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of the news on Grab the Remote. I'm your host, Matt. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. I really do appreciate it. I hope you're having a great Monday so far, and I hope you have a fantastic week ahead. So, you might be asking yourself, what is the news? Well, the news, to simply put it, is a show where we talk about movie news, TV news, all that fun stuff. Should be a fun show. I'm excited to get into it. But before we do that, there are a couple things I need to address. Thing number one, subscribe to the channel. That's extremely important for you to do. So if you can, please subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, I do want to apologize for no intro or outro. We're still working on it. Those should be ready by Friday, I would assume. So on Friday, you should see the intro and outro to the channel. Another thing, this Friday, we're going to be doing a recap show for Amazon's Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. The first two episodes, they're being uploaded on Amazon, so we're going to watch those, and then I'm going to do a recap for it. Now, this is a show that everybody's been so peaceful about. Everybody's so happy and excited for the show. No fighting whatsoever. But in all seriousness, I'll give you guys my honest opinion. If I enjoy it, I enjoyed it. If I don't like it, I don't like it. So we'll find out on Friday. I do hope you join me on Friday for the recap show. The show should be uploaded, I would say, at 4 o'clock on Friday. I would assume. So that is happening on Friday. And then lastly, I usually have a co-host, Cody. Unfortunately, Cody couldn't make it today, but he should be back tomorrow. If he's not, he'll be back sometime this week. So there you guys have it. Now let's get into the news, and let's start off with the box office, shall we? So the estimates for the box office came out yesterday, and they weren't pretty. Not a good weekend for the box office weekend. Not good at all. So at number one, we have The Invitation making $7 million. At number two, we have Bullet Train making $5.6 million. At number three, we have Beast making $4.9 million. At number four, we have Top Gun Maverick making $4.75 million. And then at number five, we have Dragon Ball Super Superhero making $4.5 million. Not good. Not good at all. Now, there are a few things that stick out to me. Let's start off with the movie that did not make the top five. And that's George Miller's new movie, 3,000 Years of Longing. This was George Miller's newest film, had Idris Elba, Tilda Swinton's in it as well. It looked interesting for sure, but it did not do good at the box office. It made $2.8 million, which is not good at all. That is quite bad for an opening weekend, and this movie had a $60 million budget. A $60 million budget. I'm going to be honest, I don't think it makes its budget back. I just don't see it happening. $2.8 million? That is not good at all. Now, who knows? Maybe internationally, this movie will do great and it will make its money back that way. But I don't know if that's going to happen. It's got a long way to go before it makes its budget back. So that stuck out to me. Another thing that stuck out to me with the box office was Dragon Ball Super dropping 78%. I don't care what movie you are. I don't care how good or bad you are. A 78% drop is bad. Like, really bad. And I'll be honest, I'm surprised. I'm surprised it dropped 78%. Because the word of mouth for the movie seemed to be pretty good. There were people who have never seen Dragon Ball who seem to have enjoyed the movie. And then you have Dragon Ball fans who enjoyed the movie as well. So honestly, I'm surprised it dropped as much as it did. It's not good at all. It's not good at all. So that had a 78% drop. Not what you want to see from your movie. Top Gun Maverick. I think what sticks out to me the most with this is, for one, had a 20% drop, which is great. And also, people could have watched the movie at home. It was available to buy. It came out, I believe, Friday to own. So the fact that this movie still made $4.75 million had a 20% drop when it's available to watch at home, that's absolutely insane. Good for Tom Cruise, good for Paramount, good for Top Gun. Top Gun Maverick deserves to make every penny and more. I absolutely loved Top Gun Maverick. And then lastly, The Invitation made $7 million. Worldwide, it's made $8.6 million, but still not great for an opening weekend. I'm sure Sony was expecting it to do a little better than 7 million in the US. Now, there is good news for Sony. The budget for the movie was $10 million. So it should be able to make its budget back. It should. It didn't cost a lot to make. It was a small budget movie. The numbers aren't what you want to see, but at least, they should make their budget back. So there you have it. I haven't seen the movie yet, but I do feel like the trailer spoiled most of the movie. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like the trailer showed too much. So that definitely played a factor into why I didn't see it, because I just thought, hey, I've already seen the movie via trailer. Why do I need to go see the movie? So, again, should make its budget back, but not a great opening weekend for The Invitation. All right, so we're going to move on to the next story, and honestly, this is a really big story. So about a week or two, there were rumors going around that Matt Shakman was going to direct Fantastic Four. Now, if you don't know who Matt Shakman is, Matt Shakman directed all of WandaVision. He worked on Game of Thrones, Is Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Succession. He's got a really good TV resume, at least in my opinion. But anyway, about a week or two, rumors were starting to go around that Matt Shakman was going to direct Fantastic Four. And if I'm going to be honest, I never thought of his name. I always thought that Kevin Feige wanted a big name director, like a household name director, like Steven Spielberg, Brad Bird, guys like that. I figured Kevin Feige would want somebody like that he can trust to work on the movie alone. That way Kevin Feige could go off and put his focus on stuff like Secret Wars. So I never thought of Matt Shakman, and honestly, I just never believed the rumor. Well, my opinion is starting to change. Let me explain why. So Friday night, Matt Shakman dropped out of Star Trek. He was supposed to direct the newest Star Trek film, but he has now dropped out of directing Star Trek, which is a shame. I thought he would have been a good fit. But anyway, this comes from The Hollywood Reporter. Filmmaker Matt Shakman is no longer boldly going into the Star Trek galaxy. Shakman, who was set to helm a Trek movie for Paramount, has dropped out due to scheduling issues as he is jumping to Fantastic Four for Marvel Studios. The movie was a top priority at the Melrose Avenue-based studio and was dated for a December 22nd, 2023 release. Matt Shakman is an incredibly talented filmmaker, and we regret the timing didn't align for him to direct our upcoming Star Trek film, Paramount Pictures said in a statement. We are grateful for his many contributions and are excited about the creative vision of this next chapter and look forward to bringing it to audiences all around the world. So it does bum me out that he's not directing Star Trek, because honestly, I think Matt Shakman would have been a fantastic choice for Star Trek. I think he would have. For one, he's a really good storyteller. That's what you need when you make a movie. You need really good storytellers. And number two, he's been on sets where there's been CG elements, where there's green screen sets, all that fun stuff, right? So I don't think Star Trek would have been an issue when it came to visuals for Matt Shakman. I think he would have been perfectly fine. It's not easy to direct big blockbuster movies that have a lot of CG, but Matt Shakman has proven he can work with CG. So I am a little bummed that he's not directing Star Trek. And honestly, I was looking forward to seeing this next Star Trek movie. I like Star Trek Beyond quite a bit. So I was definitely looking forward to the fourth movie. And it was supposed to come out December 22nd, 2023. Odds are it's going to get bumped to 24, which is unfortunate because that would mean it's been 8 years since we got a Star Trek movie. 8 years, which is insane. Yes, there's been TV for Star Trek, but I want a movie. I want a movie of Star Trek, man. So, unfortunately, he's no longer directing Star Trek. Somebody else is going to direct it. Hopefully, they get a good director. So let's get to the Fantastic Four part of it. Here's what I think now. Since he has dropped out of Star Trek, I personally believe September 10th, and I know other people have brought this up, but I believe it as well. I believe on September 10th, at D23, Kevin Feige is going to bring out Matt Shakman and officially announce that he's directing Fantastic Four. Now, as far as Fantastic Four goes, I think Matt Shakman is a great choice for Fantastic Four. Obviously, he's used to Marvel. Like I said earlier, he's used to the CG, so that won't be an issue, and he's a really good storyteller. And that's what we need for Fantastic Four. We need a really good storyteller because, yeah, Fantastic Four has not had the best of luck when it came to movies. So I think Matt Shakman would be a great choice. I honestly do. I would assume, because Matt Shakman has been hired as the director, and since the movie comes out in 2024, they're probably going to start filming late next year. So I would assume they're going to be getting their cast pretty soon, which we'll talk about on another day. But I do believe Matt Shakman is going to direct Fantastic Four now, and I think he's a great choice. I think Matt Shakman would be a really good choice for Fantastic Four. I think he'll make a really good movie. Yes, I did have issues with the final episode of WandaVision, but outside of that episode, I thought the entire show was fantastic. I thought he did a great job with it. Definitely earned the Emmys. So, yeah, Matt Shakman, it looks like he's going to be directing Fantastic Four because he did drop out of Star Trek. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think about this news? Let me know down below. So with that being said, it's time to move on to our weekly segment, which is called What's Coming Out on Physical Media. Now, for those who don't know, which is probably everybody watching this video, I love my physical media. I love my Blu-rays. I love my 4Ks. I love them. Yes, I could buy digital. Yes, it would save me tons of room if I bought digital. However, I love the cases. I love some of the presentations that some of these studios do with the box sets, some of the companies do. I really do enjoy a lot of the presentations because, companies like Arrow Video do a really good job with the presentation. And that's something that's important to me when I buy a movie, especially a movie that's a little older. I like to have a good presentation. So, with that being said, we're going to get into the movies that release on Tuesday, which is going to be tomorrow. And we're going to start off first, and there's not a lot to talk about today. There's 5 movies I'm going to talk about. The first one is our only 2022 release, and that is Brian and Charles. This will be coming out on Blu-ray. No 4K for Brian and Charles. I haven't seen the movie yet, but I did see the trailer. It looks good. It's about this guy named Brian. He builds his own robot. He names it Charles. It looks really funny. It was selected to the Sundance Film Festival. You could tell it's going to be a heartwarming movie. It looks like something that would be for me. So Brian and Charles, that comes out on Blu-ray tomorrow. So if you haven't seen it and you want to see it, or if you've seen it and you liked it, then you can buy it tomorrow. Next one we're going to move on to is actually a TV show. It's called 1883. It's the Yellowstone spinoff that came out last year, I believe. This is coming out on Blu-ray. Another show that I haven't seen. My parents actually watched the show, and they enjoyed the show. Did not like the end of the season, but they really did enjoy the show as a whole. Obviously, Yellowstone, very popular show. A lot of people do like Yellowstone. I think Yellowstone's good. I do need to check out 1883. That's coming out on Blu-ray tomorrow. So they're releasing season 1 on Blu-ray. So if you're into Yellowstone and you're into 1883, you might want to check this out. Unfortunately, it's not coming out in 4K. I think this show would have been cool to own in 4K, but sadly, it's not going to be out in 4K. So 1883, that comes out tomorrow. Next, we're going to move on to a movie that came out last year. It's an anime movie. It's called Belle. Belle is a movie I have not seen. Spoiler alert, I have not seen any of these movies that we're talking about today. But Belle, I haven't seen. I just wasn't interested. I'm not really into anime. It's just not my style. But I've heard good things about Belle, and it's coming out in 4K. It's a collector edition from Shout Factory, and Shout Factory does a good job with their releases. So, honestly, If I liked anime, I would probably pick it up. I believe it's $50 though. I could be wrong, but I believe it's $50. It's a bit pricey for Bell, but it is coming out in 4K. So if you wanted to own Bell in 4K, here's your chance. You can get it. And Shout Factory is going to do a very good job with this movie. Next movie we're going to talk about. This is a cult classic film. It's called Cat People. It came out in 1982. Shout Factory again is doing this release. Haven't seen Cat People. It's a cult classic for a reason. People enjoy the movie. I think it's cool that companies like Shout Factory or Arrow Video, they release these cult classics on like physical media. I think that's really cool that they do that. So Cat People comes out. It's a scary movie, so if you're into the scary stuff, then you might want to check out Cat People if you haven't seen the movie yet. This is one I'm definitely going to check out. I mean, it helps that Shout Factory is doing the release, so yeah, I'm definitely going to be checking out Cat People. And the final movie we're going to talk about today is Miami Connection. This is probably the biggest movie out of all of these, but Miami Connection comes out on 4K. Vinegar Syndrome is doing the release. Haven't seen it. It's a classic movie. I know it. I'm going to buy this movie, though, and I'm going to watch it as soon as possible. I don't know when I'm going to buy it, in all honesty. I'm either going to buy it this week or next week, but I'm definitely really excited to own this movie. Look, man, I buy movies I've never seen all the time, and I end up watching them, and I end up loving them, and I think I'm going to love Miami Connection, so that's coming out. Vinegar Syndrome is releasing it in 4K. Again, not a lot of stuff to talk about that's being released this week. So let's run through the list one more time. Brian and Charles is getting a Blu-ray release. 1883 Season 1 is getting a Blu-ray release. Bell 4K is getting a collector's edition from Shout Factory. Cat People is coming out in 4K. The cult classic movie, that's also coming from Shout Factory. And then Miami Connection from Vinegar Syndrome is getting a 4K release. So there we have it, guys. We'll be back next week to do more what's coming out on physical media. So make sure you stay tuned for next week. All right, so with that being said, it's time to move on to the final topic for today's episode, and that is going to be my Game of Thrones House of the Dragon Episode 2 review. Now, when it comes to Episode 1 of House of the Dragon, I will say I thought it was a very good episode. I really did enjoy the first episode. I thought they did a really good job setting the world up and bringing you into that world. I thought they did a really good job with that. I thought the acting all around was really good, especially from Matt Smith. He was a standout to me. I thought Matt Smith was very good as Daemon. I thought he did a really good job in the episode, and the acting as a whole was very good as well. I thought the politics were good in the episode. I thought the drama was good. I thought that visually it was stunning. Really enjoyed it, and it did feel like Game of Thrones, which is a good thing. So what about Episode 2? What did I think about Episode 2 of House of the Dragon? I really enjoyed the episode as well. Not quite as good as Episode 1, I will say that. However, I really enjoyed this episode. I will say, I did feel uncomfortable at times, and if you've seen the episode, you know what I'm talking about. There were 2 moments that really made me feel uncomfortable, and honestly, I did not like what I saw. It was not a good uncomfortable, it was a bad uncomfortable. Yeah, did not like that at all. And also, I guess a spoiler for like the opening, sequence, that title card and all that good stuff. So if you don't want to know anything about it, just wait like 15 seconds. I will say I really did enjoy that sequence. However, I wish there would have been a different theme. I love the Game of Thrones theme. I really do. I just wish House of the Dragon had its own theme. It's not the end of the world. I'm not freaking out about it. I was annoyed for a second, but now it is what it is. But I really do wish they would have had its own theme. But moving on to what I liked about this episode. I thought what was probably the strongest thing of this episode was the father-daughter relationship between Viserys, I believe that's how you say the king's name, and Rhaenyra. I believe that's how you say his daughter's name. I thought that the chemistry that Millie Alcock and Patty Considine, if that's how you say his last name, I thought they had great chemistry. They were really good on screen together. Did a really good job of that father-daughter relationship in the episode. really enjoyed that. And honestly, like I said, that was probably the strongest part of this episode. So I definitely did enjoy that. Also, another thing I enjoyed was the politics. I really enjoy the politics that are getting involved in this episode. Um, I really enjoyed it, and honestly, it's setting up for something really, really cool. And of course, we'll see that as the show progresses, but I really thought the politics in this episode was very, very good. I thought that the drama in the episode was also very good. I will say the last 20 minutes were fantastic. I really did enjoy those final 20 minutes. And the end of the episode does a really good job setting up what's going to happen later on in this season. So I really did enjoy that. Again, they did a really good job building this world and bringing you into the world of Game of Thrones, which is something you want to see. It felt like Game of Thrones, which is good. And I will say, as far as acting goes, the standouts is Patty Considine, Millie Alcock. I would also say Steve Toussaint. Is that how you say his last name? But I thought he was really good. And then, of course, Reese Fiennes. Otto Hightower. I thought all four of those people did a really good job. They were the standouts to me in this episode when it came to the acting. Visually, very, very good to look at. The sets were beautiful. Really enjoyed this episode. And again, does a really good job setting up what's to come in the future. And I cannot wait to see what we're going to get in episode 3 and beyond. So again, really enjoyed this episode of House of the Dragon. I thought it was another strong episode. It flew by, in my opinion. It did fly by pretty fast, but I loved just about everything. Again, there were some parts that were uncomfortable, I did not like. And again, if you've seen the episode, you know what I'm talking about. So that is going to do it, guys, for the news. First episode, it's wrapped. Thank you so much for everybody for checking this out. I really do appreciate it. If you're new or if you haven't already, I would greatly appreciate if you would click that subscribe button. That way you guys can see what's to come in the future with this channel. I'm excited to really get into this, and I can't wait for you guys to see what we have to offer. So make sure you subscribe, like this video, all that good stuff, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.